Before we jump in today's video, I just want to remind everybody that I'm not a financial advisor. So this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial, investment, or trading advice. All investments involve risk, and you should do your own research or consult with a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions. Just remember, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Hey everyone, it's Paul here on my channel, Better Call Paul, and as promised, I'm going to do another Battle Royale today. I'm going to try and make this a weekly series for every Wednesday. So today we have two ETFs, one from Evolve and one from Global X, and they're very similar. You'll see the underlying holdings are very similar, but one of them has been around for a few years now, and one of them is only, I think, 6 months old. So we can only really compare the last 6 months, but we'll just take a quick look at both ETFs so you guys can see, some of the comparisons. For example, the management fees and distribution and stuff like that. Anyways, guys, I don't want to make these videos too long. So if you're interested in buying one of these ETFs, I would do a deep dive, right? Go to the website of the fund manager, go to Global X, go to Evolve, read everything, right? Read everything. And if you have questions, maybe ask Chat GPT and it will go, it'll go into their prospectus and it'll find the answers for you. And then you can, maybe try to verify those as well. Anyways, guys, let's jump right into this. Okay, so first we have OILY, which is Evolve's Canadian Energy Enhanced Yield Index Fund. Okay, so fuel your portfolio with Canadian energy. OILY seeks to replicate, to the extent reasonably possible, before fees and expenses, up to a 1.25 times multiple of the performance of the selective Canadian Energy Top 10 Index or any successor thereto, while mitigating downside risk through an active covered call strategy. All right. So here's some information. You got the ticker is OILY. You can see the current NAV is 1142, distribution 13 cents, index based with active covered call strategy and 25% leverage, 10 holdings, 30 million in assets. Up against OILY, we have one of my favorites, ENCL from Global X. And this is the Global X Enhanced Canadian Oil and Gas Equity Covered Call ETF. Now, I say this is one of my favorites, not because, I like this more than I like OILY, but this has been out since, I believe, 2023. So I've had it since it came out. Whereas OILY, like I said, was just launched recently. I did buy it and held it for 2 months and sold it at a 26% profit. So I was pretty happy to do that in my margin account. All right, so reasons to consider ENCL. Unlock the growth potential of Canadian oil and gas companies with ENCL, which uses light leverage of 125% to enhance growth potential and yield. ENCL provides access to covered call strategy designed to potentially enhance portfolio income while reducing portfolio volatility, and designed to make a consistent monthly income along with potentially long-term capital growth. All right, so let's jump into this spreadsheet I put together so we can just compare things side by side and make it easier for everybody to see, right? So on the left, we have Global X ENCL. On the right, we have Evolve's OILY. So the underlying stocks for Global X is 9 stocks and 1 ETF. And we're going to go over those in a minute. And Evolve has 10 Canadian stocks. These are all Canadian, by the way. Inception date, you can see there's a big difference, right? October 10th, 2023 for ENCL versus March 26, 2025. Now, Global X launched at, ENCL launched at $20. And from what I could find, it said that OILY launched at $8.66, which seems strange, but that was the information that I could find. Maybe if somebody knows different, please, let us know in the comments below so we have the actual facts. But this was the best that I could find. So the current price of ENCL is $22. So it's up a couple dollars since it launched, but ENCL has been down as low as, I would say, around $16, which, that's when I like to buy it. Under $18 is when I like to buy ENCL. Now, Evolve's OILY is currently at $11.39. I was lucky enough to buy it under $9. When I picked it up back in January, it was under $9. So I'll have to watch this one. And, when the oil market cools off and it drops down below, say, $9, I'll probably buy OILY again. So right now, assets under management, you can see that ENCL is a lot larger, but it's also been out for a couple years longer, right? So 313 million versus 29 million. The strategy, they list this as a covered call strategy. Evolve lists theirs as an active covered call strategy. From what I could see, the max right level for ENCL is up to 40%, and for OILY was up to 33%. They're both using 25% leverage. The management fee for ENCL is a little bit higher at 0.85% versus 0.6%. So you never know, this might have a factor on how well the fund performs because you're paying a little bit more for ENCL. Distribution, 26 cents a month versus 13 cents. But you have to realize, you're paying double for ENCL than you are for OILY, right? So they're both paid monthly, but you can see the yields are pretty close, right? Right now, if you were to buy, and this is today, it is March the 18th. So this is, I got this price. I mean, it fluctuates daily, right? Yesterday I was working on this chart. It was $22.21. Now it's at $22. So currently, if you were to buy it right now, it's $14.18. When I first started buying ENCL, the reason why I started putting a lot of money into it was because the share price had dropped down and the distribution was higher, and it was paying about a 21% yield. So for OILY, right now you can see it's at 13.69%. So they're both very close, right? I wouldn't say, the 14% versus 13% makes much of a difference, to be honest with you. For some reason, Global X rates itself as high risk tolerance and OILY medium high. So they're both very similar, I would say, in terms of the underlying holdings, the leverage, everything else, right? So maybe because the right level's up to 33%, gives it a little bit less risk. You have a little bit more upside. I don't know. Okay, so let's take a look at the underlying holdings. So you can see that Global X holds an ETF called NRGY, Energy, right? And this is 37% of the portfolio. And once I'm done going through this list, I'll show you what's inside of that, which is pretty much all of these. So I'm not quite sure why they hold this ETF. But anyways, so they have that. They have Cenovus Energy, Canadian Natural Resources, Suncor, Whitecap Resources, Imperial Oil, ARC Resources, Keyera Corp, TC Energy Corp, and Tourmaline Corp. So Evolve, they have Canadian Natural Resources, which is also in ENCL, Cenovus Energy, right, also in ENCL. Keyera Corp is as well, Suncor is, Imperial Oil is. Now they have Enbridge. And ENCL does not have Enbridge. They have TC Energy, which they do as well. They have Tourmaline, which they do as well. Now they have Pembina Pipeline, which is not in ENCL, and ARC Resources. So there's a couple differences between the two, but otherwise they're very, very similar. Okay, so here is Global X's Energy. And if we go to holdings, you can see that their holdings, are pretty much all the same companies that you see in the underlying holdings. So I'm not sure why it holds this. Keep in mind that ENCL holds ENCC, right? ENCC is the unleveraged version, and ENCL is just the leveraged version. So that's what it holds, but this is what ENCC holds. All right, I wanted to take a look and see what the comparison was between the two in terms of total return. So just looking at 1 month, you can see that OILY is slightly ahead of ENCL. But if we jump to 3 months, you can see that OILY is still slightly ahead of ENCL. Might have been different yesterday when I was first working on this this video. Let's see, 6 months. At some point, ENCL was ahead. Maybe that's changed. Oh, look at OILY is still ahead. So 27%. This goes back. So let's try, I guess, 1 year, and this should go back as far as they can go. All right, so this goes back to March of 2025. So over the past year, ENCL is beating OILY by 2%, about 2%. So they're very close. But I think if anybody watches Adriano's videos, you'll find that he usually compares 4 or 5 different energy ETFs, and ENCL has been on top for quite a while now. So Global X seems to be doing quite well with ENCL. Oh, the sun is coming out. It's beautiful, but it's wrecking my lighting here a little bit. All right, guys, I'm trying to dodge the lighting. Anyways, I like both of these ETFs. I held one in my tax-free savings account. I held the other one in my margin account. Right now, with oil being so high, I am trying to sell them off to take profits. But once oil drops, right, once things get settled in the Middle East and the war is all over and the price of oil comes down, I will start buying them again. Okay, maybe I have ENCL in my margin account and my TFSA. I might sell out of it in my TFSA, and then just load up on it in my margin account. Anyways, guys, I'm starting to get bombarded by lights here. Hopefully this is kind of giving you guys a bit of a laugh. Anyways, until tomorrow, and I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about yet tomorrow, but hopefully maybe I'll get a comment down below, some ideas, something to discuss. But as usual, I will have my snowball portfolio coming out on Friday or Saturday. And I am meeting with a special guest today. So I look forward to putting that video together and hopefully getting it out by this weekend. All right, everybody. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.